So, Northamptonshire County Council and Northamptonshire Adult Social Services. One, but adults you're meant to be supporting the victimisation, the mental abuse, the harm, the alarm, stress caused to me, and now the lack of trust. You want people like me to engage with you and your public employees. Oh, by the way, of the Healthcare Professionals Council, HCP, yeah, tricked me into signing up this unlawful. It's fully rebutted, by the way. You've got the email. It's fully rebutted, and the harassment and deliberately now blocking. Was it in statute law? Okay, let me just get us out. Anyone else don't know what's going on? I'll just quote this generally nationally. It's known as the Right to Advocacy, Section 61 of the Care Act 2014, Section 9.1, Section 10.1, Section 11.3, Section 11.5. Okay, so basically Section 2 and Section 9 of the Care Act 2014, you're not meant to be taken into account of anyone that's meant to be supporting somebody at the moment who are struggling. So, yeah, why, in dishonour, basically. And so I ended up contacting my GP. He's absolutely livid. Well, you wouldn't believe the calls are recorded, so I'll be getting that data. And I'll be putting a claim in. So, you have a lawful national duty of care, and wide an individual had sent the restriction of access to my personal data. Well, that was misled to me when you offered to sign. Oh, just sign this. And it was a noisy cafe and didn't even know what the hell I'm signing. It wasn't explained. It was rushed. It was read. And, well, basically, the consent are on. It's gone into an email. And it's limited access for data from 2009. So since those public servants all those years ago got on board, well, that's already on your data system, isn't it? Your care record data. It's called First Care Record or something like that, but it's all changed the way it works now, if anyone don't know, in the UK. So it took me ages to try and get well enough to meet up with these public servants. The emails are just, I just hate paperwork now. But I tell you, my mate had to do that document paperwork, and it's proof, first-hand knowledge, of why the housing's the way it is. Because you're just flippant, unprofessional, and I know you've got people breathing down your neck. It was obvious that you type in the background, oh my goodness, I found this out and all. You're meant to be full disclosure if you type anything I'm saying on the phone. Or what, you block people recording their own access to make a disability reason adjustment. Equality Act 2010. Well, you discriminated already against me, so nothing new. And what you're scared of? What, somebody who's going to hold you accountable because you got 3 national cabinet highly paid public servants in there running the county council now, and you've got everybody breathing down your neck. So this is having a negative effect onto men and women trying to access goods and services for their needs. Well, this costs the public purse more now. Me having to rely on the bloody NHS system now. By the time I'm finished, they'll bloody well be exposed what's happened to me. And I tried to get help in the hospital last year, and there's a social worker in the discharge team refused to make a referral. Based on what? That bloody, I couldn't believe. And then you get what? A paid advocate. Well, let's have a look at that one, shall we? In statute law. The voiceability. Well, yeah, let's just say that. The Cambridgeshire head office will be getting, the CEO will be getting an email to make it clear that there is a breach of, well, there's a conflict of interest. And obviously there's also a breach of my confidentiality and trust. Well, up until literally a very short period of time, they had been very good, very helpful. So suddenly, on the assumption that there's an authority, individual has no authority, by the way, but assumption they do, to tell me, well, via an email, by the way, with a social worker, to claim I can't record my own meetings or account assessments. Well, I think that's double standard, don't you? You'll cut back the public funds to record public meetings for those that can't get to public meetings to see what's being discussed. Well, that's not making reasonable adjustments to access goods and services of a county council, is it? And then what? Just brushing it off on the claim, oh, it's cost saving. Well, not if you're looking at 700 quid a day plus expenses of 3 blokes who took over running the county council. So how many people like me out there has experienced this? Because they rush to do a care assessment. They haven't got things right. They're not medically trained. They're not occupational therapists. So they're rushing through all documentation and skipping through it and making a comment saying that somebody's not disabled. Somebody's not physically disabled when you've got medical evidence in front of you. And I'm ringing up my GP, absolutely livid. Well, I had I couldn't be livid because I was too busy having 2 major panic attacks. You cause that negligence and harm to me, and you'll be held accountable. I really don't give a monkeys anymore. You know exactly what you're doing. And you've got a massive building opposite me. Well, it's all over the news anyway. I mean, I had an individual say to me, what was it? They even knew it's cost over more than 100 million. Well, I ain't got any access to factual financial data, and I don't really give a monkeys. I'm just more concerned with the way I've been treated. Well, just because I have this individual, well, you just conveniently get to my sister. You conveniently get to anybody that I have contact with to offer minor support so I can engage with your services. It all depending what is offered. You see, you're making assumption all over bloody again, like you did before all this. There's a history, isn't there? You know that. What? I'll go to the ombudsman. Well, you pay, don't forget, certain public services, the way it's funded and contracts. And anyone don't know this. They pay a certain amount each year to be a member of the government ombudsman. And then all the other sort of professional bodies. And then don't forget you've got unions that are protecting the rights of the workers. What about the public's right? What about all the members of the public that are paying their taxes towards these people's wages? Or are paying their wages? It's abuse of trust. Breach of there's a conflict of interest of the voiceability advocates of these services because they're not independent. So that's misleading, that's fraud. And I got the proof of that. So that be taken up, that be reported. That's fraud. You don't take one adult and mislead them and take advantage of them. Nah. The fraud side of it is the procurement of the website of LGSS Law Limited, National Law Company, and there's a contract, you see, the county council pays top fees of the public purse for these top lawyers. So the kids are taken off families, whatever reason, whatever system, I'm no expert and all that. But then they do the private liberty order, make up assumption of a man and woman with a mental capacity they haven't got, using the Statute Act Mental Health as well. They could make up anything up. So your comments to me on the 7th of June 2018 was very, very odd. I kept saying all the time, I need accessible format. You're firing out questions at me, which is unrelated, which I found out for a lot of good sources and other people in similar position to IT. None of the questions you've been asking of me is anything to do with the Care Act I was following. It's to do with adult safeguarding. Do you think I don't realise what you're doing? Cease and desist all unlawful truths. Well, unlawful facts you claim as truths, I would say. And I've already done that in 2017. Yeah, you know who you are. Head of short-term embeddlement team South, but it's just rebranded from the mental health short team. Well, short, whatever. So many departments and titles now, it's unreal. And by the way, on the website, you can't find out who's doing what and how, and the public cannot access information. And even when you phone up the call centres or press this number, press that number, you eventually get through to somebody. And then they don't even know who's meant to be working who in what building or what department. How's that going to help the bloody public to know what's going on? So you go to these political representatives in one area, like I have done, and you're getting the brush off. Oh, this is a Labour, by the way, a Labour. And then you find out the Conservative portfolio holder for the Cabinet, the County Council side of it, in the area, one's area UK. And you find out she's got ties with the police. She's a magistrate. I've got no disrespect to the woman because I don't even know her. But you would have thought, in the public interest, and they claim expenses in the political arena. Fair do. Well, that's meant to be democracy, isn't it? So, is it? It came across to me on the 15th last Friday, a week ago. I'm still traumatised so severely by it all. Absolutely cannot engage. I don't know what the outcome, because you were all fine with me before that Thursday, and then the Friday, I couldn't believe it. And then I get the news my mum dying. How insensitive are you? I cannot believe it. I expected it eventually, but didn't believe how harsh. God forbid if any of you lot end up in my situation. You might have all this protection of your private insurance and all this stuff going on. But I tell you, until you go through it, you might have your mates protecting you and not targeted like I am. Yeah, I'm targeted. I'm always bloody targeted. Targeted individual. Yeah, don't think I know what goes on. I've got evidence. I've got video and photo evidence. What you got your car lights on in the broad daylight coming out that building for? A lot of you working in there. As I come out of my wheelchair where I live. Yeah? What you trying to do? Psychological tactics, is that? To screw about with someone's mind? You don't realise it's not a mistake. It's not just one car. It's a lot of the cars. Broad daylight. It's not brake lights. I'm no driver, but I've shown this to other people. And they know full well that's odd. Well, I bloody well know it's odd. It's never happened before. Never happened. I mean, I didn't even know all these subjects existed about 2 months ago. And then I stumbled across what's going on in the bigger picture thing. So you obviously has branded my bloody private life, attacked my character yet again. And that's the police for you. They set me up in 2015 on a fake charge. I never did anything to nobody. I'm in a casino. I have 20p a spin. I get set upon by 3 blokes. Yeah, I know what that's all about. All on camera. And a Russian bloke, my witness to everything. I rang 999. Do they turn up for me outside the venue? No. What goes up? These blokes make up a load of shit about me. I end up getting done. They don't give a monkeys. I've learned how the system works. I know what's behind a lot of stuff that's been going on with me. And I know you just build up the written evidence, the times, dates, the pattern of events, and I know what's behind it all. And this stuff, recent stuff, is nothing new. There's more serious stuff that's gone on to me. And I know why. So I just now be in a better place when it's my time. You're not going to push my buttons like this. It don't work. My mum's raised me in a very good way to be stronger. And I am. I'm getting there. I'm just unfortunately very, very ill. Physically. Get it in your head. Bloody physically. And where the trauma my life comes from, attempt to murder on my life. You dig all that shite up. Oh, it would be helpful if we can have a 2006 report. And then someone says, it would be helpful if one could have, oh, would you mind? I believed you were genuine, don't get me wrong. Oh, a 2010 private, medical, serious data. I'm going to report this. Don't you worry. It's already being reported and restricted what you can do. And you individuals involved, and I haven't stated who they are, I just mentioned the county council and generalised. So I'm not breaching anyone's data on this. No. You got a policy, what? You expect, don't forget you work for the public. So you can't dictate what the public, oh yes, it's courtesy. I treat people the way they treat me. Mutual respect. But you ain't going to get away with what you did to me on Friday last week. No way. That call's recorded. And if that GP practice is claimed wiped off the calls, the retention period of data, I know about that. They will still have that. So with a goodwill intention of a private friend of mine, I'll type up a document, put you on notice. This will be to the CEO. We found out who it is. The man. Failure to act on that will see you in High Court. Well, eventually. Might not be right away. Because I already made something public, but I've done it in a discreet manner. You've got bad press already. You're all over the bloody media, for God's sake. Do you want another bad press story, do you? You're targeting disabled vulnerable adults. Well, do you want me to use my past to come out public for all now, shall I? I've got nothing to lose. You're already doing things to me. You're just blaming all this housing disrepair on me now, again. Well, that proof got to shut you up, wouldn't it, in the email? I've got all the first-hand knowledge, times, dates, who was what, who's done what, blah, 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 all these 10 months. And that was sent for me on my behalf as a Word document. That has shut you up, you blinking social worker, blaming me. Oh, let's forget about what's happened before. Well, you have a shower. Yeah? You try and have a shower out of a bucket with your medical equipment around you in your bedroom. Impossible. I've not had a shower since bloody last July. Get a life. Sad, inconsiderate, heartless individuals. Now, you see, it started off with major disrepair that's added onto my life and my health. Ended up in hospital, the door kicked in, caught live feed on Facebook. My daughter-in-law saw it all. And that social worker on last Friday says, she dismissed all that, by the way. Oh, there's nothing that showed up on your scans, and there's nothing that showed up in your blood test. Is she a bloody doctor? No. Was she there, first-hand witness? No. Was my daughter-in-law? Yes. Did she do a statement of fact? Yes. You ignored that, didn't you? You screwed it up all the way to start with. Gather information, initial assessment, BS. You know exactly what you're doing. And then suddenly I get this appointed trust as my appointed trust law on board. He knows his stuff, but he gets a few things wrong. Well, just because he's been scared off, you've scared him off. Absolute good tactic that is, isn't it? I knew that would happen. Like you're scared of my bloody blood family members, my son, my daughter-in-law now. You've got to them, haven't you? You got to my other family members. You want people to be isolated so they're under your thumb. But it don't work for me. It don't work on me. You do your best, I know. But don't forget, on my side, and loads of people like me, we have this spiritual awareness. We have the consciousness of being protected with spiritual energy. Your evil actions, behaviour, well, that's not from a Christian point of view. That's not from any kind of honourable behaviour of an individual working on behalf of public funded services, is it? Nah. You shouldn't be in your bloody job for the way what you did to me. But I know, for example, the way you talked, the way you were, it weren't you. It was like a different individual talking to you on the phone on the first 3 meetings I had. And the last one, she meant it. This is what gets me. She was so kind. So it was a major shock out of the blue, the way she were with me on the bloody phone. And then don't get me started about this advocate. I mean, pushing questions, asking me how I sign my documents. Do you think I don't know what that's about? I've studied law. I've studied common law, contract law. I know what to do. She was asking me how do you sign. It's none of your bloody business, you stupid woman. How I sign my documents is my business. I don't ask you, do I? You're trying to make something out of it. You're trying to create a label, a mental health label I don't bloody have. And that sheet they're putting out, 30 pages long up your computer system. Well, excuse me, I know I'm entitled to advance questions to be asked of me. I know what my rights are. It's all in statute law. And I know about the contract and common law I did not sign. I did not fully give full consent. I signed under duress, you stupid idiots. And if you don't realise what that means, you can't use it. Your document is null and void. You want to use my social media, do you? Yeah, play back this video so many bloody times to you. Trying to analyse it. Trying to go to your bodies. Yeah, go to your bloody Freemason lodges. I've met loads of people, very good people, who are high Freemasons all over the bloody place. They've done me no harm. So you go and use your connections if you want. It doesn't matter. I've got nothing to lose. But you've got nothing to lose anymore. There's nothing you can do. You will go out your way to make such an assumption that someone's got undiagnosed psychological disability. That's where you're going. And then you'll try to go to the Kangaroo Court to get an order, or even the Court of Protection, or whatever it's called nowadays, guarding, whatever it's called. I'll beat you to that one. I've got there before you. I've already contacted them about you, what you're trying to do, unlawfully, and they're grand. And then anyone listening, what they do next will like turn up with the public servants, the police. They're gonna love this. And it will be on a different section. You really need to look at your rights and the documentation, the Character Plus 14, on vulnerable adults as well. Because if you're renting social housing, they will get them involved. They will get everybody involved. And they will just clue together and to make up a load of shite and then say, oh, we believe you, if you don't come voluntary, we can detain you under their statute law. And they will go on this angle for the better good of the public, for public protection, not just the individual, public protection. For what? Because somebody knows their own mind. They've not harmed any man or woman. They're not harming themselves. Yeah? Get it? Oh, how many years since the NHS, Northamptonshire Healthcare Trust, public servants and that side, psychiatry, 2011? They discharged me off the CPA care plan. Well, where are we now? 2018? How many years is that? 8 years? What? You're trying to trigger something off to create them to come into my life again, are you? Why do you think I've been left on medications for years? It's not my fault. There's no up-to-date information. If there's physically nothing in the physical operations anyone could do for my body, well, there won't be any up-to-date bloody hospital reports, will there? Ding, ding, you're not a doctor. And then, so I actually took the initiative to ring up my own bloody medical practice GP to see why I'm so weak. Perhaps he's saying, oh, we're not getting enough vitamin D, need some blood tests. Well, what the hell were they turning up as district team people that I got a witness to unlawfully trespassing in my private dwelling and breach my data on that one? You put half in a letterbox with my private medical data sticking out of it for any Tom, Dick and Harry to see they're getting in this area where I live. Well, I won't be able to do much about that because of what you are doing to me all this time. The key questions are triggering me up. Reliving my trauma all over again. Is that your intention by your questions? I had no problem. I believed I took you on good faith. I even showed you the bloody emails, that bloody community law service, that bloody service manager, what she done to me, what she said to me, what was worded and blocked off a home visit. What? Just because in 2016 I was able to go to that bloody public building, Northampton Borough Council public building. What? To see that guy who forged me, literally allegedly forged me to push me in to do a debt relief order when I knew I didn't even owe a debt in the bloody first place. What? So you can make a profit? Well, I found that one out. If it weren't for a certain other independent kind of service out there, I'll be paying back. I'll be having, well, I don't even know anyone knows how the credit system works, but it's just done on the computer. So I managed to get that CCJ taken off anyway in the end. But because that didn't make that certain individual for that certain, it's public. It is a company and it's extra funded by the borough, the county council and other sources. Well, the director is on X amount. The trustees are politically connected in town. Everyone's connected. So the public, if you're in my position, you've got no chance. You ain't gonna get, unless you know people, personally. Mates are mates sort of thing, 5th of bloody June, a Tuesday, that individual didn't even look the facts right, trying to help me with this horrendous situation a lot of people going through at the moment. Many subjects, but this one is a personal independence. I never consented to be switched over to the offer of a new contract. Well, that one's going to be sorted out. Didn't even realise because you pushed my buttons and all this stuff you were doing, so I couldn't concentrate what I know how to do things normally. Well, that'll be worked on this weekend to reject the offer. That dishonour, Right. Well, do something similar, something lawful, but seeking information. Because, by the way, as I said, I'm showing these emails about what I try to seek in statute law. Well, it's like a postcode lottery around here. What? You expect housebound people that are so ill that can't get off a sick bed to try and somehow get into a drop-in. And by the way, the only wheelchair accessible places is the Guildhall. One's there in UK. And then you only get initial 10 seconds, perhaps, 5 minutes, perhaps, an initial advice and get an appointment. Well, the appointment, well, you're out of time now. If you have a document to get in by a certain timeline and you can't get the time extension, you're buggered up anyway. So you could lose your DLA. Not much of that anyway. But 6 weeks, how many weeks delayed because the service is over. You know, thousands. I mean, how many people need to access services in different subjects? I do not know. But I tell you, they're struggling. So what? The advocate suggests to go to community law. What? Because that advocacy service, well, the way they have contracts, it didn't win or didn't get the new 2013 legal aid or legal aid agency contract to help in subject welfare benefits. Well, or housing, all the key issues that one needs support on. So it's up to the individual that's so unwell to do everything themselves when they're limited mobility physically as well. And then you get an email by a certain individual, Northamptonshire County Council, adult social services, so many department to say, I've had a supervision. Oh, it's not my job remit to do anything to support with a PIP or DWP. Well, at the time, you see, my throat, my glands, my dental health was so swollen, I couldn't bloody make a call. Yeah? And then the anxiety it causes me now anyway on top. To a bloody call centre, to females that are just looking at individuals, thousands of us in the UK, as a number game. Oh, numbers on a computer. Well, I don't fit into a bloody small screen, sorry, or a blinking tick box exercise. I really do not. That's so ridiculous. And just think, I will let this go. No, I treat people the way they treat me, honourably. But you think I'm going to be triggered off and have my private life hang out like a washing line by all you bloody idiot. Well, not all of you. That's a disclaimer there, by the way. Not every public servant is like this. The ones I've come across are. And I haven't mentioned who they are, so still not breach their data, and I will never do that. I'll be doing it all the law for due process. I'll kick ass, don't you worry. I started already. Do you think I couldn't allow this for anyone else to go through what I've gone through and still going through? Yeah, I know. I'll bet you it'll be about 10 playbacks on this video. I know the public servants watch it. I know what they bloody do. If I got video evidence and a witness of these certain public cars, well, public servants, their employees, right, of their cars in broad daylight coming out this small street opposite me with their beams of their car lights on, for God's sake, get a life. I know what that's about. It's so childish in behaviour of these individuals. It's ridiculous. Well, just because someone's got a brain and they know how to use it, just because there's setbacks in their life, you can't walk all over them, you know. They still have the same right to exist in this life, messed up life, the way it seems to go in the United Kingdom, I tell you. Well, I might, you know, spend half the time in my bed now because I'm so fatigued. But anyway, you couldn't believe what that advocate was saying. Oh, how do you sign your documents? Why do you sign it like this? What's it got to do with you? Go do what? It's my bloody business. Reached the terms and conditions being hired in the first place by the public purse, the county council. And that's not just the first time, by the way. She's been doing this 4 times. Only 4 meetings. And this has all happened in a very short period of time. 4 weeks. Unreal. Never. I expected a period of time, yeah. But not a short period of time, 4 weeks. Unbelievable. Anyway, this is sad. It's really sad that I really just need to get this video made and advise and warn people out there, you members of the public, you don't know what the hell's going on. Well, just go on Google, Northamptonshire County Council. Just research the subject of, you know, the crisis in care nationally. It's not just this area, by the way. It's all over the place going on. And there's a reason behind it all. I'm sad to say there's a lot of stuff going on, that so many people are going through so much. And If there was things done honourably and lawfully, I wouldn't be making such a video, you know? Okay, if there's a human mistake and it's innocent, I would, you just learn to forgive and move on. But this was intention of that individual, and I knew she had someone breathing down her neck. And it was just, I can't even describe it because it's so traumatizing even to keep thinking about it. But I tell you, it was just like you're talking to a brick wall. If I'd known she's going to be like the way she were, I would have never even bloody made the call. I did out of courtesy. Because this individual guy, it was like, how could you get your rights protected? So many bloody emails, so much making one's lawful requirements clear and concise. And that's all on the website. If you go on Northamptonshire County Council website, you look for yourself and you look at how they're meant to. It's all worded lovely, and it's meant to. It looks readable, and until you start the process and experience it, and you find there's none of the questions on the website about community care act assessment, the kind of question to expect, none of it has actually happened to me the way it's meant to happen. So you go on disability law website, you get sent the correct information, you go into other similar websites information, and you find out after all this time that none of the questions are being related to what's meant to be. So that's how I know how these questions was formulated. When a couple of contacts I've got checked out some videos, did some research for me, and when I just mentioned briefly about not who said what, just kept the confidentiality, obviously, and I just basically said, well, it sounds like to me, and I didn't want to think it, I just said, well, I'm trusting my gut on this. It definitely comes across that way, whereas these key questions are leading into something else. And then you just get saying, another meeting, it was, oh, good news, the social worker says. What good news? Oh, you're going to have a full in-depth care act assessment. Well, there was no information who made that decision, based on what evidence of first-hand knowledge. Why wasn't that put in an email before the meeting? And then in front of her, she had this big document to give me a copy. I think its space is my mate had to go on and even look at there's a lawyer firm that has a particular YouTube channel, and had to find out that way. And by just watching the videos and information, I gained what I need to know after all as well. And that document should have been in a CD format or accessible format for people with disabilities, and it never have been, even the previous one. And then another meeting, I said this straight away in emails as well, and they blanked everything to date still. And yeah, so you've contradicted yourself on that one, because it's all in public knowledge. I don't know any other county councils on healthcare for adults with disabilities. If they treat other people similar, who knows? But unless people speak up about their treatment, and I'm just generalising. I haven't gone into specifics. I'm generalising here. So the facts were to restrict data sharing on basically you have a right to know. Go on these websites, Go onto the county council website and read this privacy notice, right? And it's related to the Data Protection Act 2018, right? Statute law. It's profiling people's information. That's one of it. But then you have a right to restrict your data. They cannot, in statute law, block any disabled man or woman to receive goods and services. That's a public duty. It's a statutory duty to provide services when there is a need. Yeah? So if someone behind the scenes said, right, we need a full-blown assessment, well, somebody's made a decision that I do meet certain such criteria, and they rebranded the outcomes, all these buzzwords, you know. But in reality, this individual might be a best, well, I don't know where anybody knows this, but when they have these labels like healthcare professional, mental health, or they might be trained in certain areas. Well, if they're also well trained, why be very, very, very unprofessional and unlawful? Yeah. So when you find out on social media who they're connected to, yeah, I found that out by chance. It weren't me searching. I stumbled across that information. Photographs. So you're putting it on Facebook. You're putting your life on Facebook. So you're showing I found my old social worker. And that was back in 2010. Who screwed up things then for me. That's before I become wheelchair dependent. And that was more like to do with 2009, 2010. And, oh my goodness me, there she is on holiday and all the, I won't describe, but anyway, it's all on social media. And then you find out suddenly you find out, oh, I know that individual's face. I remember where they're from. You have a right to private life too, yeah, but don't try and push opinions onto me when you're a double standard yourself. You'll portray this professionalism, but yet out of your job role, you've got all this going on. How is the public going to trust and have faith? Look at what people do. They're searching for jobs. They're not going to be putting certain type of photos or posts on social media, are they? They're going to be conscious and careful. It's like with the DWP. If disabled people don't know, they can use any search profile on you. They can watch you home and, you know, gosh. And if you don't know how the police use others also use this statute or investigation powers. I can't remember the full title, but it's like they can use uncovertly, you know, discreetly, surveillance on people if they think there's fraud going on. I mean, that first, ages ago, I remember, was used in people claiming housing benefit, right? But now it's gone more to do with everything now, generalising it all. And then when you see there's cameras opposite where you live on a new public building, and that is a 5G smart type device built in by, facial recognition. It's all the technical. I know you're not bloody stupid. I mean, somebody posted me a link to certain information, the picture and the image. I thought, it's all around the bloody town. I got in late this morning. Don't normally stay out late. I thought, stuff this, you shite people that's doing what you're doing to me. I had a pizza. It's lovely to sit in the evening sun. Well, the sun had gone down by then. Getting a couple of bits I needed. Oh, and I had my music on to help me. You know, because I can't cope going out and about. It's the way my illnesses and things affect me. And I braved it. I thought, stuff you lot. So, yeah, somebody helped me, and the next thing I know, there's a massive bloody fire engine behind my arse, behind my wheelchair. Don't you think I know what that's bloody about? You missed my wheelchair by inches, you great big idiots. Northamptonshire, I don't know what you're called anymore. Your departments keeps changing on me. Northamptonshire Fire Brigade, I don't know. But this bloody, whoever these people were, they weren't going to no fire. You don't cut down Abington Street I think it was just after 10 o'clock at night. And you don't deliberately come so close to my wheelchair. I'm at by this seating. I can't do anything myself. So I got bouncing this pizza box in my wheelchair next to the seat area opposite this well-known shop in the small part up the road in the Abington Street area. And then there's, it wasn't even dark. And then they just like trying to intimidate me. Oh, so I got my camera out to protect myself in case they tried to hit my wheelchair. Yeah? Stupid bloody idiots. Don't you think? You don't go... if you were going to check, say there's a fire alarm in the business district area as well, and the shopping area and stuff, yeah? You would have not drove down all the way past the statue, right down to the bottom end and joined a normal path of road. You would have gone round the ridings area on the road. You would have gone the back end of Abington Street, where there's a road, to the back of the Northampton Borough Council building, and you would have joined that road at the bottom of Abington Street. Oh my goodness, do you think I'm not bloody... Oh gosh, it was so pathetic what they were doing. And there's other people around me that noticed it too, not me, just me. They said, what's this doing down here? So I take no notice. It's just pathetic. Just so sad and pathetic. And yeah, well, I take notice. Because if you pay attention, right, if anyone notices this, you might not, but just research this subject. I'm not going to say if it goes on or not goes on, but just observation, really. Just go research the subject, targeted individuals. I mean, just look at the TI television. It's not a psychological disease. It's not all in the mind of individuals. If you look back in the 1950s, all this technology, so much technology is about and how it's used. I'm no expert in nothing, but it's just when you find out certain things. Well, I don't bloody well go down these rabbit holes. I don't need to. But there's other people that does all this stuff and proves the facts with documentation, evidence. Don't you think? When people have a mind and they absolutely... despite their illness, disabilities, they're going to get labelled. If you... Oh, it's sad. You know, how many people my mates saw that day with all those cars, headlights on, all them bloody public employees coming out that building. And then there was one individual female that was such an evil look. It's not even a human individual look at you. It's sad, and I'm in a public place. I'm my own business, going home. And then the other occasion, I was just about to go out the car park where I live. It's so sad. I just said it, what they're doing. And that's just on top of everything else. So, obviously, you know, what happens, and that subject target individuals... I mean, they call it gaslighting, they call it stalking. Yeah, and by the way, it's unlawful harassment. And if you keep a journal, your photographs, your videos, you keep a journal offline as well. If things you do feel unsafe, anyone out there, generally. And if you are going through illness or disabilities, talk it over with your doctor and discuss your concerns and rule out anything, because I wouldn't want anybody to be labelled extra things you haven't got. And just be careful, there's disinformation on the internet anyway about this subject. So if you can get facts and back it up with that, it might be beneficial. I didn't even know that subject existed 3 months ago. So I just take it a pinch of salt. Myself, I really take it a pinch of salt, because I'm not going to give any man or woman their job capacity role any ammunition to try and label me with, oh my gosh, she's talking about that subject. Oh my God, you've got an undiagnosed psychological disability. Yeah, that happens. Be careful, people out there. If you're generally going through things, be aware and just have backup with fact. Just don't give them, information out when you're dealing with certain men and women in the job capacity role on the public side, public servants. Just, if you've got concern, you keep a diary, because it's unlawful harassment, and that's in statute law. I don't know where you are in UK, but this is also entwined and in statute law, United Kingdom. And you have a right to report it to the police. Unlawful harassment, especially to a vulnerable adult. Don't forget, they can easily dismiss it, but they have to record it. Okay? But it's no good just like taking random photos of car headlights. That could mean anything. But when it's deliberately pulling back in front of you and you're sitting or walking on a public path, right? And it's right in front of you, get your phone and take a picture of the car plate number, right? Don't put up with any shite if any strange people come up to you, start talking to you, you don't know. If you're safety, polite, and just get out of it, get away. And I had to do that yesterday. Well, actually, just think about it, it's 2 times. So, and when you go somewhere, you know people, you're just friendly with them, because you don't know if, unfortunately, well, I can only go assumption on this one, that that public servant that happened to me last Friday it was definitely like it, people in professional job, don't be in it if you can't take the bloody heat. Delegate your time, your workload, because otherwise you're not trained for your job, are you? And if you're rushing decision making and expecting people like me, well, that puts me at jeopardy, doesn't it? But you did that because you had senior management. You would not provide who they were. You were so evasive in emails and on the phone. It was so obvious. And all the time you were busy typing away in the background. You should stop typing. You're just gathering for every little bit of information to compile a case file. Well, do what you want. But don't forget, my lawful rights. In your job capacity role, you breach your line. And you can't say you're doing it in the best interest of who. So I know what your job roles are. Anyone out there, research the subject of best interest assessor. And research the subject of private liberty. Okay? Now we're looking at both the mental capacity, and that's a statute act, and then in conjunction with safeguarding, okay? It's very important to get the knowledge and be clued up. If anyone can help you, that'd be even better. And then you got the safeguarding, okay? That is the first thing to absolutely research and get information on. And then look at the public guardian, office of public guardian. If you got a family member or a friend, can set up to be a trustee, get things in trust, and also get your affairs in order, set up your will. Because you don't know when these bloody arsehole public servants will do the dirty on you without foundation, and they will come down. They will not look at the least intrusive aspect. They will make, if they've got a bee in the bonnet and they want to shut you up because you're exposing what's happening, yeah? You're not exposing anything unlawful, it's just how you've been treated. And they don't want that to get out. So they've got to have a backup plan to make out that, or you're losing your mindset. Look at the truth on this subject, if you like. look at the truth on, I can't think now. Oh yeah, look at the truth on a psychiatry. The DSM Manual 5. The DSM Manual 5 internationally, if you look at the history, how it came up for mental health diagnosis initially, it was set up by a committee of men, I don't know about how many women, a long time ago. And now it's worldwidely used by men and women go to their education establishments and get a piece of paper to say they're expert in whatever field. So psychiatrists, psychologists, and then now social workers, professional mental health trained, whatever. Yeah. So if you can get a copy or watch some videos, it's easier on that subject, and especially the DSM manual, because I'm not dissing any man or woman. As I said, I've got PA, I can't pronounce it now. It's only from trauma in my life. So they're trying to mould the public when they're already unwell, unfortunately, into if you don't think the way the state system wants you to think and act, well, then you've got another undiagnosed condition, mental health, and you need to have assessments. And if you don't get voluntary done, then they will go down the enforcement road. That's why it's important to have things, affairs set up in order, because they can easily silence you by that angle. And I've read and heard about this by those that are generally targeted and unlawfully, because there's doctors, natural health doctors. There's so many good people over the years have been silenced that way and discredited. So that's what they've been doing to me. They're discrediting my character, and all this lawful due processes I've done with somebody's help in an email is restricted the data and who it's shared to. And if you don't know on the subject of the Statute Law Regulations Act 2018, you've got a lawful right. They still might ignore it, of course, but at least it's all in black and white, so to speak, and there's a record. So you need to try and separate the subjects in an email, try to do that. But don't forget, I'm not trying to bloody get more paperwork, and I'm not trying to make a bloody complaint in the statute system, because it don't go nowhere. I know that. But if you log it, there's a record, isn't there? Okay? And but don't forget, any kind of they always will try. And again, it depending who you are dealing with, you might be very lucky to have a decent, honourable public servant working for you to meet your needs. I'd like to think there's still some about. But unfortunately, this stream is really just generalising about it's just so unreal, so unethical, and people could say, oh well, so what? There's car lights with headlights on in broad daylight. Well, don't you find that unnatural? Anyone else notice that? So there are videos out there that people are documenting. They know how to do monitor on that subject. I'm no expert in it. I don't know much about it, but I just know that it exists. And well, I'm just nobody, so I'm not really flattered. I just think it's so pathetic that you want to waste your time. You know? So be aware and get your data if you can, because You don't know who said what about your private life or your character, and you need to set the record straight. Okay? Because then these reports could be made, well, there are being made up about me already, and they will not. By the way, if they go on the angle of adult safeguarding, I warn you, not waste your funding to try and get your data, because you'll be blocked. And don't forget, the data controller of County Council will do that. Well, the system set up where they pay the Information Commissioner to be a member, so they protect. Yeah, they're meant to make sure all these codes and policies are followed lawfully. But don't forget, there's a team of bloody lawyers and these county councils and all their experienced people in their field. Yeah, so they're deliberately protecting. Oh, it's so sad. I mean, why should there be a divide when you've got the public, people trying to assist, and people in my situation, they're trying to get along and work with these professionals in their job role. They're just men and women with their training, and you would have thought they want to help. Okay, so the decision say you don't meet such and such criteria, well, then there's other options. I mean, to look at all the avenues, but not to go down the way things are happening like this to me. So it just makes me wonder how many other people are. I mean, like again today, I'm not going to bloody be. I mean, I'm on fruit and veg. I'm on one of these veggie type vegetarian diets at the moment. It's not a diet; it's just a change of habit. Bananas, grapes, oranges, smoothies, keeping it hydrated, cleaning out, detoxifying the body, and trying to try and keep this dental illness at bay, trying to boost my energy level so I can find some energy to do what I need to do, especially this weekend. Yeah, so they could basically, right, they all work together, these people anyway. They're going to take this place off me unlawfully. They're going to do what they're going to do, and I know my spiritual consciousness will live on, no matter what they do. I ain't going to do anything to myself, I never will. When it's my time, the spiritual essence all around every one of us will do that for me. And I know I never get put through all this crap, all this stuff that's been going on in so much ways is unreal. I've got through worse. I'm surviving. I've always survived. No matter what's thrown at me, I'll eventually get through it all. Okay, you're still traumatized by things, but you still move on. And that's all I'm about. That's all the channel was about. It's trying to get. There are individuals out there that don't want you. Don't want it. They don't want you to have a life. And I can't abbreviate and all that right now. I'm just trying to rest. I've had to rest all bloody day. Yesterday was the first time I was chatting to somebody after this incident with the fire engine. It could be a coincidence, whatever. But anyway, it was too close to my wheelchair for comfort, pathetic. And then I chatted to somebody, and I'd went somewhere, and that lovely lady, she was very kind. And I'm just, when you get an able-bodied individual explaining their problems, their position, you see it's not just one individual who's going through things, there's a lot of us out there, able-bodied or non. And then when she said something about she's not from this country, about how she was blocked from, there was like an ex of hers that bloody just put her son on a bloody plane to come to Great Britain because he didn't want his son. So she went to the public services then to see about housing and the way she got treated. And it didn't surprise me. I just listened. I just don't know how I assume I would have been listening here. And I seem to pick up on things. And I've had this kind of intuition insight. I like to build on that as a strength. And I do not like to rely on any public services if I can help it. Not anymore. But you see, anyone out there in the public funded, companies and also private subcontracted limited companies, men and women, have a duty of care to report any safeguarding issue they see and observe. And so I've always did my best to engage past months. Absolutely. And when I heard all this shite in the news, and it's never stopped, that doesn't make you feel easy trying to engage with people now, especially after what's happened to me. So all I say that how many other people can get on a YouTube channel or a blog and just explain what's going on and share the knowledge and group together? It's not just about one subject, it's all interlinked. You got your housing, you got your Department of Works and Pensions, you got your dental health, perhaps, like me. You got your physical disability, you got your trauma effects, whatever it might be in life, mental health. And it's all works, unfortunately, it's all intertwined together as you are, as an individual. And then you got, well, if you don't have your close support network or family, well, that impacts, doesn't it? So, if these public servants don't realise how their questions are intruded, so they obviously haven't got enough training. Knowing the fact if somebody is traumatized and going through things, the trigger effect after a meeting. I already informed them about that. And again, as I said before, my GP about this. But well, how am I meant to engage now? The damage is done. If I was offered a different public servant, and I did say in an email, well, provide who this new department is, who heads the department, what they do. There's nothing on the website of the County Council to say what they do and who they are. And if they are of Olympics Care Services Limited, by the way, I'd like the lawful reassurance it's not the same employees that's caused me harm in my home. And they've been reported already at the time. And again, through the local government ombudsman. Whether they investigate, it's never matter. And by the way, yeah, you are the complaints employees at the County Council. You never provided evidence of full disclosure. You never investigated anything. You just had a standard email response. That is not a full complaint investigation in statute law. And so in my area, unfortunately, there's a monopoly in this area. Well, every day centre, a lot of these day centres, and a lot of these respite places, and some of these care homes are run by Olympics Care. They used to be, well, they've always been funded by Northamptonshire County Council, I know that. But they also had their own separate entity as a limited company itself. But they've all merged again. But if you look at companies' house or any information of that, if you wanted to go that far, investigate, you will find the documentation evidence you might require to prove that whatever service you're being offered by, and they cannot just say one email, oh, what do you think about an OT assessment? You've not had one for such and such a time. Well, I've already know how to go through that process through my own NHS procedure and the GP side. I don't need to rely on Olympics Care Services Limited. No. My medical needs on equipment is not changed. And I made that clear before. So I know there is a choice And if you go, anyone out there, go on NHS website for United Kingdom, Choices website, and you look at, I mean, you might not be able to find everything, but you look at about choices, and then perhaps you might find websites or forums or Facebook pages about your rights and choices, what's available. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, United Kingdom does have an NHS constitution. I've got that document, and everything you know as NHS per se, every town and city, they're sharing, when it comes to adult care, social care, they're sharing not just your data, but how they call it partnership working. So the public are not informed how it works. You might have those men and women in their job roles know the system, but they should simplify it and make it easier for men and women to comprehend who's doing what. So you've got an intermediate care team on behalf, if you've got nursing, like I need an operation, so I'd need to see, depending on the criteria, what could be offered on that angle. And also on the OT side, I know they do community occupational therapist side. But it's impossible to do it at my home the way it is. But my emails and there's other individuals, done the emails of fact and evidence, and they don't care. I ain't going to be responsible. Somebody bloody well breaks their neck and hurts themselves on my own because of the defects that's caused by this housing company. Lack of offer repairs by the employees. Oh, what? An email comes back and says, oh, I offered to move before everything turned the way it did like this. So I offered on a temporary basis, confirm various things that being placed by this housing company employees. Do you know? Nothing happened. They blocked everything. And then again last Friday, this public servant says, oh, well, you could always go to a hotel. Well, please, anybody out there, have you ever scouted around in my area that has a hotel for your medical equipment? I mean, obviously, this individual had she's a social worker, and she backs that housing officer up. Yeah? And that housing employee has no disability awareness training. None of them in my area. I found that out end of last year. I got it confirmed, and so I aided them. I provided all the Disability Go website, all this location where it meet my needs. I knew I could get these equipment temporary back where I loaned equipment from. I knew exactly how things could happen. Yeah. No bloody social worker bothered to help me with all that. So I had to do it. And so I provided all that information and the relevant, and but that got blocked by two blokes that don't even know. Housing employees, don't even know them. I ain't gonna meet no bloody bloke of my own that I don't bloody know on my own to think I'm no way. So anyway, I sort of put it in an email. Evidence you've ever booked a bloody hotel in my area. Well, my mate's research found there's no hotel was booked and nothing is accessible for me in my personal situation. So that social worker last week didn't want to know about that. Yeah. No, you'll believe it. She didn't want to know. I won't repeat what it said because it's obviously a private conversation. But just put it this way. It was obvious. No hotel room was booked. That was offered to me. It wasn't even accessible. So I did look around. I looked around thinking, okay, could my friends get to the location as well as their commitments? On top? No, it just put extra time on them and they couldn't cope. I explained that again before these meetings, 4 meetings of the social worker and the advocate, and emails, and again last Friday on the phone. And she just brushed it all off again. So that email has gone out with evidence of that on record, that in that detailed notice of opportunity to cure without dishonour to the housing head office, Newcastle employees, key CEO, key people relevant, making it clear that my area employees detailed everything, dates, times, what was what, and that was attached to you, London, certain head of Northamptonshire adult social services, your data protection department management, your complaints management, and your social worker and their manager. It was clearly set out as evidence of fact. If you do not correct your lawful duty to correct the factual evidence on record, well, then I've got another claim to bring, haven't I? So, unfortunately, that individual you referred to, this house employee, had any indication of what I've been going through for 10 months and left like this, she would have informed you correctly. She would have informed you that she's not the correct individual to liaise with who and to do what. And I made it clear that I've already done all this myself for 10 months. And don't forget, in one of my meetings I had with you, that social work individual last week on the phone, she dismissed the fact that I already got evidence of an email that I said who I went to go independent advice about the housing before my health got ill and since. And she saw that email before in a meeting. She said, well, no. And she just made a note who I went to see. So she knew all about this. So she contradicted herself last week as well. But because I was so traumatised, everything she's saying about discriminating me and caused me alarm, stress and everything else that went on, well, basically, I didn't pick up on it as much. But my mate's gone back on my emails and checked things for me. And we've made some dates. So the ball's in your court. What's going to be a piece of chess next then? Is it going to be the bishop move? Is it going to be the king, queen move? It's like a board. It is like all this is like a bloody chessboard, like a game, psychological game. But it's not. It's my life, and I have a right to life, the right to exist in this bloody messed up world, and that's what I have to say. I need to rest. So, oh no. I'm going to contact the press now, so I've got to go. And I've got to be in time for the, when I contact certain people, I've got to be in time for, maybe not in time for this weekend's media, but we'll definitely be in time for next week. Just watch this place. You want to mess with me? You don't get away with it. Unlawfully. Due process. My mate's witnessing this stream, by the way.